Not everyone should wait to file for Social Security. There are scenarios where it makes perfect sense to file at the earliest age possible. So stick around and I'll tell you what they are. A lot of the content that you find online will make the case that filing early for Social Security benefits is always a bad idea. They'll say things like you should always wait until your full retirement age or later to file for maximum amount of benefits. And while it's true you can make a good case for filing later for Social Security benefits for maximization of income in most cases, that doesn't apply to every situation. In fact, there are 5 specific circumstances where I think filing early makes the most sense. And so here they are. Reason number 1, you need the income. There's not a lot to think about here. If you've left your job and plan to retire and need this income, you just need to go file. You know, a lot of people leave work long before they actually want to leave. In fact, the Employee Benefit Research Institute did a study in 2016 and found that among those retiring, 46% were retiring before they wanted to. They were leaving work earlier than they'd ever planned to. So when they dug in to find out what's the reason behind this, it showed that 55% of those individuals were leaving because of a health concern or disability. And then 24% were leaving because the company that they were at was either downsizing or going away completely. And then 17% of those individuals were leaving work to go home to care for a spouse or some other family member. So before we move on, I want to stop and talk just for a second about the 55% of individuals who have left work because of a health issue or disability. Before you go and file for Social Security retirement benefits, you need to thoroughly investigate whether or not you qualify for Social Security disability. And here's why. Assuming your full retirement age is, say, 67, if you file for those retirement benefits at 62, you'll receive around 70% of your full retirement age benefit amount. If you file for disability and are awarded those benefits, the amount that you would receive would be 100% of your full retirement age benefit, even at 62. So it can make a big difference for you to make sure if you're leaving work because of a disability, because of a health issue, that you don't qualify for Social Security disability. So reason number 2, you are single and have health issues. So if you're single and have health issues, you may just want to use a real simple break-even analysis. Now, this is the only time where I really recommend using this because it just doesn't make a lot of sense in other cases. The chart looks something like this. It pulls up the various filing ages and shows at which point your cumulative benefits intersect. So, for example, if you're trying to compare filing at 62 versus 67, it tells you that you need to live longer than age 78 for filing at 67 to make sense over filing at age 62. And then you can go on through the ages and you can run all sorts of age combinations in these. But if you're single and have those health issues, this is probably where it makes the most sense because you're not worried about increasing survivor benefits. You're not worried about the host of other factors that married individuals have to worry about. And now reason number 3, and that is spousal issues. Now, I want to take spousal issues and break these up into 2 separate subcategories, if you will. And the first is if your spouse is the higher earner and has health concerns. If your spouse had higher earnings than you, that means that their Social Security benefit is going to be higher than yours. And if they're in poor health and have a shortened life expectancy, that means that most likely that higher benefit they are receiving is going to eventually become your benefit through the survivor's benefit. So if that's the case, there's not a lot of reason to delay your benefit for years down the road just so you can get a higher benefit for the rest of your life because you'll most likely start getting that survivor's benefit down the road. The second spousal issue is if your spouse is the lower earner and older than you. So if your spouse is older than you and their own benefit is not as high as the amount they can receive as a spousal benefit, it could make sense to file and open up your work record to pay a spousal benefit to them. When you compare the total amount of cumulative benefits that you could both receive, it may make more sense to do it this way. And reason number 4 is you have a survivor's benefit. While this strategy is highly dependent on the math, it could make sense to file for your survivor's benefit as early as age 60 and then switch to your own benefit down the road up until age 70. Let's walk through an example and see how this would work. So let's make the assumption that your own Social Security benefit at full retirement age is $1,500, and your survivor's benefit that you're eligible for is $1,750. Now, if you file early, you know there will be some reductions that come into play. So your own benefit would be $1,050, and the survivor's benefit would be $1,394. So here's the way this switching strategy would play out. You would file for survivor's benefit at age 62. And remember, you can file for that benefit as early as age 60 or even 50 if you're disabled. But to keep everything the same, I want to use age 62 here. So file for survivor's benefit at age 62, start receiving $1,394. And then at age 70, you'd switch back to your own benefit. And because it's increased every year between age 62 and 70, now that benefit would be $1,860. And that's not including any cost of living adjustments that would happen. And now reason number 5. If you have minor or disabled children at home, if you have children or eligible grandchildren, or even a spouse providing care for these children at home, they may be eligible for a benefit. But just know you will have to file first, though, because there's a rule that states that before benefits can be paid to anyone off of your work record, you have to be receiving benefits. When combined with your benefits, the benefits to children and your eligible spouse can be up to 180% of your full retirement age benefit. So if you have children at home that meet the criteria for eligibility, there's an obvious reason to consider filing early. So there's the quick 5 reasons why I think it makes sense to file for Social Security as early as possible. So let's go back and review these one more time. First, if you need the income. Second, if you're single and in poor health, just use a break-even analysis. If you have spousal issues, so if your spouse is the higher earner and in poor health, or if your spouse is the lower earner but older than you, if you have a survivor's benefit, you can use the switching strategies. And then if you have minor or disabled children at home, that could open up to 180% of your full retirement age benefit to be paid out. Now, I have to make a side note here before we leave. There's a video that I did recently called 3 Stupid Reasons to File for Social Security at age 62. It has some amusing comments if you want to go out and read those and maybe even add your own to that. But I don't think that filing at 62 is always right, or filing at later ages, such as full retirement age or even 70, is always right. I think it's highly dependent on your individual circumstances. But listen, do yourself the favor, get informed about Social Security. Don't just take someone's word for it. And whatever you do, don't just take the Social Security Administration's word for it. Check out my channel and all the other great resources that are out there. And before you leave today, please hit that subscribe button. We're putting out videos all the time that deal with living in or planning for an awesome retirement. And check these videos that are coming up on the screen right now. And thanks for watching.